House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
What would the last episode of House to Home be in the year 2020 if we didn't take a much needed stroll down amnesia lane and then hopefully look forward to some much more profitable and lucrative and positive happy times coming for the real estate industry in 2021. Liz and Gina from RE/MAX Diamond Realty Guam join me right now. So ladies, thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you both and your teams and your families.
Happy New Year.
Okay, maybe let's do this in chronological order, right? So Liz, we'll start with you. Everybody knows what the big story of 2020 was, and we covered this, the three of us, going through the various months of the pandemic. March was very, very emotional, very, very unsure as far as you guys running the business and everything. But from your vantage point, what was the beginning of the year like for the real estate industry, and then where is it now, and have things actually changed at all?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we started out like gangbusters. The year off. I mean, it was, and then all of a sudden, things in March were considered at that time as non-essential, and of course, things a bit because of the home and do a lot of technology to communicate with customers, but then eventually we essential again, but always essential, right, Gina?
Always.
And so, things, if I look back at the year, I've got to say we have been busy. I think part of my business and Gina, I mean, we aren't driven by fear. We know that but we're very cautious ensuring our safety and the safety of our clients. So we acted, with precautionary measures, but we have been busy. I have been busy, and so has Gina. I think busy is the state of mind, what you're willing to do to assist customers and not things stand in the way. COVID was each and every one of us, but it was, I don't know, I just didn't want that to control my actions, in other words, just as long as we took precautionary. But despite, we've been busy, and I think we're going to end the year very well.
Well, Gina, how many properties did you personally show off in the year 2020? And do you still get nervous, given the fact that you've said many times on this very program, you've got a supply of gloves, you've got booties, you've got, the masks, you've got all the PPE and everything like that. But do you still get a little skivvy when you go off to show a property?
No. I've been focused on staying healthy, taking lots of vitamins, keeping myself well informed. So I watch the news.
I like the sound of that.
I watch some news reports about COVID, and I try to keep up with what's going on, what they're finally starting to learn now that we're, all of this. I mean, really, COVID started back December 2019. So they've had a lot of time to study and learn. And depending on what you watch, so you have to be careful about what's out there. But no, my concern is how the customers feel. I'm not concerned for my health. I clean my hands when I get in the car. I clean my hands. I have alcohol spray bottles in the car all over the place. So I'm very cautious about making sure I sanitize before I meet customers, and I try to always keep my mask on. I do have some customers that I see they're very comfortable, so they take off their mask, and when they're comfortable, I try to stay at a distance, but I'll take mine off too, because honestly, wearing these masks all day is not exactly the healthiest thing you could do for yourself either. And so I'm very conscientious about that. But no, I'm not nervous about going out and doing showings. But I have to tell you, I have done some showings where if I understand that the customer literally just landed this week, but for whatever reason, they're not being mandated to quarantine. And, my only thing is I wish everybody would be treated the same, but if they're not, I'm okay with that as long as there's a reasonable, something reasonable behind that. But if I know they just got here and they haven't quarantined, what I normally do is I open everything up, I stay in my car, talk to you on the cell phone. You can talk, you ask me questions as you look through the property, and I can only do that when the property is empty. So no, I'm not nervous at all. It's been fantastic. And we started the year pretty busy. We're ending it busy. We were locked down and considered non-essential from March until May. So that was quite a bit of time, to be figuring out how to do business without being able to go out. But we figured it out as well. I think left to our own resources, people in the private sector get very, very clever about making a living and trying to survive. Mm-hmm. We are very, when you're motivated, you will find a way to make it work. So. Well,
and like Liz basically said, there's a lot of people who are motivated either by a fear of failure, and that can be a positive thing. Michael Jordan's always had the same thing. He said one of the reasons he's the best in the world, and he's probably the best that ever was, is because he was deathly afraid of missing that shot, which propelled him to practice. But that's a completely different conversation. But
actually, it's the same.
A businessman on top of it. He actually spoke at one of our conventions, and he opened
You have
Starbucks.
Never told me this, really?
Yes, he opened Starbucks in the Harlem section, and he was very, very successful. It's a very interesting story, but you wouldn't have thought of him as a businessman, knowing that he was in sports, but he did a great story. He told us.
Well, he owns an NBA franchise, so he's doing something right. So I wanted to ask. Yeah, he owns them.
Also owns Sodexo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask the two of you is, real estate is always a industry which is always very welcoming to new realtors, and when newbies decide they want to become part of the industry, you're very accommodating and very welcoming. So for first year realtors, what has 2020 been like for them, and what words of wisdom would you like to pass about, maybe obviously not every year is like this, and what can they look forward to going ahead?
Well, one of the things I found something at the store the other day. It's something Gina talked about. Is the message is dream big, work hard. It's all about the individual. You can only be successful, make it happen. So operate out of abundance. Business there, but you have to work hard. Anyone can be successful if they're willing to distance. You can give up, and it's not going to come to you. You have to make it happen for yourself. So we always tell, this is what you're going to have to do. You're just going to have to be diligent and work. If you're not willing to do the dirty work, then it isn't going to all. So anyway.
Now Gina, how about for property sellers and people who are looking to parlay their real estate into a profitable venture? What can you project as far as what the market's going to look like in, let's just say, the first half of 2020, if I wanted to sell a piece of property?
I think it'll continue to be as it is right now, which is a seller's market. And the reason I feel that way is because there's still a lot of things that need to be worked out. We still don't have a good handle on temporary workforce here in Guam. A lot of the local workers have been taken up into the military projects. So that leaves us with very, very little in terms of construction workers outside. So the ability for anybody who wants to build a brand new house, whether it's to sell or to live in themselves, the amount of contractors that are available for those types of projects are quite limited. So housing will continue to be in high demand because of that. And until, the government, I'm always for small government, but in this particular case, the industry can't fix this without some intervention by the government, because it's the restrictions that have caused the shortage in workforce. And so because of that, the government needs to somehow find a solution for this, or create a bigger voice in opposition to what's going on here, because without that, we're not going to have workers. I mean, we have developers, and these are individuals whose sole industry is to build homes, sell it, and that's how they make their living. Mm-hmm. And they are unable to produce houses right now because they can't build it themselves. They need workforce, and they can't find workers. And the ones they can find, they're so limited that what these people are doing, this limited workforce, is they're going from project to project, and they bid out. So I'll do walls for this much. I'll come back and plaster for this much. And that's how they're doing it. And so because of that, the prices are so high right now just to produce a home. And I spoke to a gentleman the other day, and his sole business is building homes for resale. And he told me he's not really, I mean, if he builds 7, he's keeping 3 as rental property, and he's selling the 4. So, and he said he probably can only build 6 to 8 homes a year. That's not enough for our market. And they're all pretty close to the 500 price range. So who does that market target? I mean, our local families, it's quite tough for them to afford that price range.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, we got to get ready for New Year's Eve. And of course, we're going to do so safely. But I think it's the 2 main takeaways we have here are there are brighter days ahead for the real estate market and hopefully for Guam business in general. And we're going to get there because we as Guamanians are not afraid of hard work, and we are willing to do what it takes to get the job done right. And we, of course, deserve to cash in on it, as we should. So ladies, thank you so much for your expertise and your insight and your friendship, not only in 2020, but throughout the duration of this program. I look forward to working with you guys in 2021, of course.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All right. Happy New Year. Bye, everybody.
Bye.